Well, it's April 6, 2025. Today, I'm just gonna go for a short walk. I decided not to go anywhere. I'm just walking on the road I live on. So here is the road. I'm headed up the road to the town road. And it's about a quarter mile up there. And I figure I'm just going to walk up there and back. My knee and leg are actually getting worse. I'm okay in the morning. I can go out and walk early, but if I wait today like I did till the afternoon, it's not so much fun. But it was raining this morning. Anyway, I thought I'd talk a little bit in general terms about the last week or so and what's going on in the world with Wednesday's declaration of import taxes here in the United States, which, unless the declaration is capricious and goes away quickly, will impact things here. And the problem is we don't know what's going to happen. Before I go on, this is the land on the south side of the road I live on. It's an east-west road, and everything on the south side belongs to Acadia National Park. So you get about 2 steps off the road here and you're in Acadia National Park. This is an undeveloped part of the park, so it is, there are no trails or anything like that. There used to be a couple of what are called social trails that just had been here for a long time, and but the Park Service decided that people were doing things they didn't like on those trails, and they closed them down a few years ago. And there's no sign that they're going to reopen them. So anyway, okay, so this, like many roads here on Mount Desert Island, is a private road. You see it's a dirt road too, and this time of year it's generally in pretty bad shape with a lot of potholes. But what does private road mean? Here, it means that the road is owned by the landowners. In other words, from a couple of feet into the woods there, across the road, and up to that house is the property of that landowner. So this road is not a public thoroughfare. It's a private access just for the people that live on it. Every year we get a lot of tourists that drive down here that think it's a public road, even though there are lots of signs that say private and other things, keep out, dead end, no trespassing, etc. And people just ignore them. But there are lots of private roads here on Mount Desert Island. They're all marked. If you look at the road sign, there will be a little secondary sign, usually over the top of the road name, that says private. And if you come here, don't go down those roads. the people that live there will appreciate it if you stay out. Anyway, so going back to what I was talking about, as everybody knows by now, anybody who's invested in the stock market took a beating on Thursday after the import tax declaration, and an even bigger beating on Friday. And it has been, a bit of a problem for some people. I know some retirees who have 401ks that they depend on. They lost a better part of 15% of their value in those 2 days. And that is going to be a problem, particularly for those who are in required minimum distribution territory. They have to take money out, which means, in general, they're going to have to sell some of their stocks at a loss. And how much they take out won't be reset until next year. And if the market keeps going down, which I personally expect there might be a small bump up tomorrow on Monday, but then I expect it to keep trending down, maybe not as steeply as it did last week, but those people could be in a real financial mess in a month or so. Just depends on whether or not the government puts out consistent messages, and what happens internationally. If other countries retaliate, this whole thing could turn into a nasty trade war and could really mess up a lot of industries that depend on international trade, particularly industries that manufacture things. Just I'd show you a kind of road sign I was referring to. Here's the sign for our road. You'll notice it says the name of the road, and then in an even bigger sign, private road. Okay. And I think I'm just going to walk home. My knee is not happy. So here we go. So, yeah. The federal government says that part of the reason for these import taxes is to encourage domestic manufacturing. But the problem is, over the last several months, policy keeps changing. And, if I was the CEO of a company, I certainly would not commit to build a factory here without a stable policy. Because you don't want to say, well, we'll get around these taxes by building a factory there, and after you've committed your money, but before you finish construction and go into production, the taxes end. And then you probably have wasted your money. So people, unless there's some stability, are highly unlikely to invest in new manufacturing plant in this country, at least in my opinion. And since the entire policy seems to be driven by one man and his personal decisions, you know, who knows what's going to happen. So anyway, that's kind of where we are now. What do I expect to happen? I expect that the economy is going to contract here as the import taxes impact what domestic manufacturing there is, because a lot of the raw materials are now going to be much more expensive, and that's going to push prices up, which will cut down on economic activity as people cut out non-essentials, and which will shrink overall economic activity. And as that happens, I fully expect that in a few months we will be in a de facto recession, if not in an official recession. Now, fortunately, for me, I am comparatively recession proof. I got out of the stock market completely back in February, and I'm basically sitting on cash, and I do not need stock market returns. In fact, when I sold out of the market, I took a capital gain equal to 5 years of dividends on my stocks, and I only owned dividend stocks. So basically, I can hold out for 5 years and I'll be pretty much even. Of course, I won't get any gains that might happen, but the money from selling out on the stocks is now invested in fixed income investments. So yeah, I'm guaranteed, 4 to 5% gains that presumably will go up as inflation goes up, and we'll just have to wait and see. Plus, I'm not getting any younger, and at my age, my horizon, how long my money has to last, is not that long. I'm in my middle 70s. My wife is on the wrong side of 80. So we've talked about it. We think that planning for 15 years is extremely conservative. And that's just the way it is for us. Now, we're not like everybody else because of that. If we were 20 years younger, it would be a very different story. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say today about what's going on. These are just my opinions. I don't have any special insights, just what I think based on a little reading that I do and looking at what seems to be going on. So I'm coming to the end of my walk, and my leg is really tight. It doesn't hurt that much, but the muscles above the knee are very unhappy, and I'm just gonna have to live with it for another month, because I did get my appointment to go to the pain management clinic, but that new patient intake appointment isn't until about the end of the first third of May. So I got about a month to go before that'll happen. And I think I'll have to wait for another appointment to get anything done. We'll find out though. So that's what's going on. I hope that I can continue to walk around some. It's supposed to be better tomorrow weather-wise, so I'm hoping that maybe I can get out and go walk in Acadia National Park. Okay, thanks for watching.